Hello, welcome to Jadekind Gaming. My name is Adam, and today I will be unboxing another of the Pathfinder flip mats. This time it is Alien Ruins. This is one I'm not sure when it'll fit into a campaign, but I know one of their flip mats from long ago was a tech dungeon, and I managed to find a use for that, so I figured this will be fun, and it's a lot more just visually interesting just because, the newer look. It fits on a shelf in the little folder, folded up, folds out to be 24 by 30 inch mat, 1 inch squares, use the markers, etc. They're all the same rules apply for all the flip mats. And at this point I have a very large collection of them. They're great for, as much as I love the 3D terrain and all that, the flip mats are real quick and easy to just pull things out. And at least at time of filming this, we don't have any sci-fi like Dwarven Forge yet. Although there has been discussion. So we will begin with this sort of desert spaceship crash look mat. Looks like it's broken up into a couple pieces as it crashed. But what could be amongst the ruins, eh? So this is sort of the back of the ship here. Oh, mini for scale, in case the grid doesn't do it for you. Mini helps. You can kind of tell as it's scraped along the ground here. The fact that you can see how it's scraped makes it seem like maybe this isn't too far back of a crash, so you could still have aliens amongst the wreckage. But also the way in many areas sand is blown in, it could have been here for a while, and maybe it's just recently unveiled this path. And perhaps all the aliens are gone. Long gone, dead, deceased, or moved on, came and got picked up, and this is just the ruins that are still here for you to come and pick out remnants of. Magic items, as far as people can tell. Ultimately, you could also use this for just like a Starfinder or fantasy game. Like, spaceships can crash in that kind of game as well. But yeah, you got little seats and control panels and a lot of wiring that, if it is fantasy, who's going to know how to fix that? But it almost, on this side, looks like it's still, in the middle of a crash, dust and debris is up in the air, but I guess it's supposed to be stuff that has landed on the front of the ship. But again, another seat here with, computer screens and a whole bunch of, various seats and panels and screens all along here. You can just see that detail inside there. Which could still all be operational. The top of this ship is broken through, and you see it, that way you see inside. Because, so many of the maps obviously being one level, you only see what is shown. But because they decided to make the roof gone, you can still see it. Around there, I guess. But, you got stone rocky, but this seems like a great angle of approach as they walk through the desert and see this sort of metallic surface, and maybe it's buried in the sand enough that they walk straight off of the desert onto it and they see down into this, cockpit of the spaceship. Yeah, and maybe stuff is still running and operational, and, if there's some sort of cosmic threat, this would be a great way that your fantasy characters can find out about it. They're not in any means to be able to find out about what's coming, but because this preemptive ship, either it was the first wave to attack them and they find out through, everyone died in the crash, but the computers are flashing images, and so your fantasy characters put together what's going to happen. Or this could be someone that's trying to stop it that failed, was shot down, and landed here, and they can see what's happening through. So you can use the screens, still operational in this ruin of a spaceship to convey information even if all of the alien creatures are gone. Now on the other end, it's not really like a spaceship so much as like a environment sort of carved into an icy mountain. A little bit of a dungeony feel, like you walk in from the snow and the first thing you see is these still operational, what do they test the coils or whatever, electricity, kind of a defensive matrix. If you get too close, zap, it attacks you. Just sort of a quick look around here, and then I'm going to zoom back in a little bit to see some of the detail, because there's some cool looking details on this, like some cool looking details here. And if you want this just to be like the entrance to like a larger dungeon, things like this 2-wide corridor feels like a great spot to put like one of the mats, like a tile, or really up against any of this black. You can just fit one of their little dungeon tiles and continue the room on, and lead further in. So, fact is that there is electricity going through here, so this base feels still operational. Whether it's populated by whatever alien creatures are using it, doing what they're doing here, or whether they're gone and no longer to be found, who knows, but some sort of power source here, various things like generating and moving power through these cables and devices. Weird, like what happens when you break, because these look like glass canisters through which this power is flowing through, and it's flowing from somewhere and then into here. Ooh, what's this? We'll get to this. Coming out of here, near here, like all these are going. We go from the opening here and go through this big room. We have more of these just general ones with tubes going out all sides. But then this room has 3 of them. Another of those sort of defensive or whatever things in the corner here. But like, again, tube of power going through here, all leading to this central room, which has a big crystal with some sort of creature within, and some sort of control panel over here. What happens if canisters are broken? Is this a crystal that's trying to grow some sort of alien or aberration? Is it keeping the crystal there so that the aberration can't get out? Is it feeding it, powering it up? Who knows? Is breaking them release it or kill it? How do the party know? But yeah, so a great way to introduce big powerful, whether it's Beholder or Aboleth, or some sort of aberration of your own choosing. This is clearly some sort of crab beast, but whatever, it's a shadow in a crystal, so they can kind of be misjudging what it is. But yeah, so great spot for that, and maybe there's other aliens around working, or maybe this is a containment field. They've done their work, they've left it, they've set up defenses, and they're trusting that the people of this world aren't going to be so foolish as to come set it free. So, some great opportunities, whether to just leave sort of a weird, they're ruins. Are they just left in ruin and, nobody's around? This is just a creature being contained, but if the players muck about, it gets free. Or are there still aliens using this sort of cavernous environment that they've built their facility into and trying to work despite the harshness of the conditions? Like I was in the air side, are there any aliens left in the ruins of this, or is it just abandoned technology, information, magic, items? It's whatever you want. Or has something new made the home to either of these? Is there a blue dragon that's set up amongst this ruin that hums with power that neither it nor the players understand, but that there's something deep within that is still giving it power. Is a tribe of Yeti set up in this cold lab, worshipping this crystallized creature. And, you know, all sorts of options of taking these weird things. Great way to introduce aberrations. Also a great way just to say, like, that there's a little more complexity to the world than what's on the surface. It can be dangerous to introduce too much sci-fi into your fantasy game, because it can certainly take over. I would warn, particularly if playing GURPS, as the generic universal role-playing system, in my experience, is always the science fiction role-playing system. Even when I try to run a fantasy game and I introduce a tech dungeon that ends up taking things into space. Because your players can definitely see, oh, there's some of this alien technology and they want to experience more. How does teleport work? Can I teleport to the moon? And then do you say, well, yes, and you die? No, it doesn't actually go that far, or yes, and here's what you find there. But yeah, just introducing alien worlds, technological aspects to your game can definitely open up new avenues for where the story goes. I'll link down below where you can pick this up online, or of course you can check out your friendly local gaming store. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.